This is not Jedi Bob. Well, okay, yeah. Technically on the box, he is named Jedi Bob, and the name of the set is Jedi Bob Starfighter. But I am not talking about this Jedi Bob. I am talking about this Jedi Bob. I am talking about Jedi Bob the concept, not Jedi Bob the character. And yeah, I know that sounds cringy and cheesy or whatever, but just stick with me here. Because I promise, by the end of the video, you will understand exactly where I am coming from, and maybe, if the stars are willing, you'll even agree with me about this concept of a Jedi Steven. But first, we gotta roll back the clock a little bit. So, a while back, I made a video talking about just how crucial the Mos Eisley Cantina scene is to the Star Wars universe. I genuinely believe that this short scene from A New Hope is perhaps the single most important scene in the entire original trilogy. I won't go too deep into it here so that I don't just rehash an old video, but what it essentially comes down to is just the fact that this scene from A New Hope made the Star Wars galaxy feel huge. The seeming randomness of it all and just the sheer number of patrons that were in this bar gave the Star Wars galaxy such a deep level of world building that still stands pretty unparalleled in modern cinema. And just like this scene was so crucial to the world building of the Star Wars galaxy as a whole, this scene from Attack of the Clones is what really made the Jedi Order feel larger than life. Remember, back in 2002 when this first came out, none of these Jedi had names or backstories, they were just Jedi Knights. Obviously, with it being Star Wars, that was bound to change at one point or another. But I think that the argument I'm trying to make here still stands. Seeing hundreds of lightsabers light up from random unnamed Jedi, and as far as I'm aware, some of them are still unnamed, really gives a sense of scope and scale of the Jedi Order. And I think that having the sense and just getting the feeling that the Jedi Order is massive is super important to a full enjoyment of the Clone Wars era. Having this image of such a vast, powerful, and very established entity that is the Jedi Order is really what, on a more existential level, makes Palpatine's rise to power all the more terrifying. And the LEGO group managed to capture this feel of a vast Jedi force, at least to a small extent, way back in 2002 with set 7163, with the minifigure who was then known simply as Jedi Knight. Now, let's talk about Jedi Bob. This might be a weird way of putting it, but I kind of feel like back in the day, LEGO Star Wars felt like LEGO. And then at a certain point, it felt like LEGO Star Wars. And nowadays, it just kind of feels like Star Wars. And by that I mean currently, it feels like the Star Wars part comes first, whereas way back when, the LEGO part came first. That doesn't make one inherently better than the other, it all comes down to personal preference. I'm just saying it how I see it. And how I see it, the Jedi Knight minifigure from the original gunship is a perfect embodiment of this principle. This Jedi Knight minifigure was not there simply to be some glup crapo that would get you to buy the set or watch the show. And yes, I did just say glup crapo, I don't like saying swear words, please make fun of me in the comments. The Jedi Knight minifigure was there on his own merits, on his own unique ability to add a special dimension of playability to the gunship. The concept of having a random, unnamed Jedi Knight who could really turn into anybody you wanted him to be was just a huge hit. It was such a cool concept, in fact, that not only did this character seem to develop his own mythology, but he of course got his own name, Jedi Bob, and interestingly enough, the name came from the fandom, not the LEGO group themselves. And this term, Jedi Bob, just so perfectly captured the essence of this character. I mean absolutely no offense to any of my viewers who are named Bob, though I'm guessing that your full name is probably Robert anyways. But like, how can you get much better than the name Bob? Like, it's Bob, the simplest and maybe the most juvenile sound in the entire English language. Bob has basically become the catch-all for anything simple yet somehow fun and goofy. What a perfect name for this concept of a nameless random Jedi, the Jedi Bob. Except, it didn't stay a concept for very long. Now, when you say Jedi Bob, it's not referring to him or her or that guy over there or any of these randos. Jedi Bob now refers to this specific LEGO character with a gray beard and thick bushy eyebrows and yellow skin. Which, mind you, isn't bad at all. I think that the idea that some random nameless minifigure meant to just be a part of the masses back in 2002 took on a life of its own and just became this legend somehow, like that's pretty cool. But the reason why he became so cool in the first place is because of the concept. It was because his presence helped to give the LEGO Jedi Order some amount of the depth and the vastness that the real Jedi Order has. It was his namelessness and his anonymity that made him so special in the first place. And now, we've lost that. The concept of the unnamed Jedi falls into a lot of the same categories that the citizens do. They're great for playability, they're pretty cool, they are crucial to the world building of Star Wars, and they're largely overlooked. I think that the nameless Jedi would be fantastic to see again. Let's throw a Jedi Carl in the next ATTE, a Jedi Jennifer in the next gunship, or a Jedi Steven in the next turbo tank. Heck, I'd love to see them release a Rogue One style battle pack that just comes with a bunch of random heads and Jedi robes and release it alongside a Master Builder Series Jedi Temple. Cause as long as those Jedi remain nameless, there's no way that that wouldn't be cool and that it wouldn't sell well. Cause, let's be honest, when I said that Jedi Bob was a great example of the LEGO coming before the Star Wars, that was somewhat disingenuous. Having those random background characters, the ones that make Star Wars feel alive and feel special, that give the universe some amount of weight to it, is really one of the most Star Wars things that you can have. So, now that we've seen the return of Jedi Bob the character, let's see the return of Jedi Bob the concept. And well, hey, you made it to the end of the video. I hope that I didn't drag it out for too long. I'm trying to get better with cutting down what I say because I know that I can drag it out sometimes and I want to get better with that. I did cut out a lot of stuff in this just to try and succinctify it. And if you hadn't watched my Citizen video before and you think that I'm totally off my rocker, then check it out on the end screen right now and see if it changes your mind.